Hello, English 109W students. I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about the rhetorical analysis report that you're preparing for the workshop later this week. I'd like you to get your report posted to the workshop groups by Saturday so that students can review it and give you some feedback by Monday. This time I just put everybody into 2 workshop groups, so there'll be either 4 or 5 people in your workshop group. I'd like for you to comment on 2 other people's reports. So if someone has already commented on a report, move on and look at a different report so that everyone gets some feedback. You could also start a discussion thread and maybe make arrangements for who's going to read which reports. That way everybody gets comments and you only have to comment on 2 people's. In terms of the report, I wanted to look at a couple of samples from a slightly different class, but they had the similar assignment. So now that you've done the 4 journals about the author, audience, context, and the text, you're going to put this information together into a report. The report should make some kind of claim about the author's rhetorical strategies. So your claim or thesis might answer one of these types of questions. Was the author effective, that should say at, getting the message across to the audience? Or maybe your claim or thesis will answer, did the author achieve his or her purpose if they're trying to accomplish this particular end with that article? Or you might even look at, is the article a good example of writing in this particular academic area? What is it that the author does to construct the article that makes it a good example of writing in that academic area? One thing to consider is that you may not need to use every bit of information from your journals in order to put together a coherent report. One thing you want to do is think about what your particular claim is and then look at the information in your journals. The journals asked you multiple questions, and some of these questions might not have been applicable for your particular article. And so in that case, maybe you want to leave that information out when you write the report because maybe it's not pertinent to the point that you're trying to make, the claim that you've said. And so think about the most successful parts of the article, or maybe the least successful if you're going to critique the way the article is put together, and look at those techniques and strategies that the author used that cause the article to be successful or unsuccessful. You should be using specific examples or quotes from the article as evidence for what you're saying in your report. And remember, I encourage you to do this with the journals, so you may already have all of this information available to you. Make sure if you didn't in the journal to properly cite the information in APA or MLA style, whichever you're using, and add a references or works cited page. Obviously, since we're only looking at a single article, there'll only be one thing on your references page. Okay, so let's look at a couple of sample papers. This one is an article from a student in the field of counseling, and this student examined an article called Naturalistic Recovery from Non-Suicidal Self-Injury. And I want to look at the opening and then kind of the way the article is constructed. So in the opening paragraph or introduction, the student says, according to the article, gives the article title, non-suicidal self-injury is when an individual is engaging in direct damage to their skin. So here we get kind of the definition of what the article is about. The research in the past has found that the majority of individuals engaging in NSSI do not seek professional help by healthcare providers, so therefore most individuals choose the pathway of recovery naturally without professional help. The authors, and so we get a list then of the authors and their credentials, where they're teaching. Their interest was to focus exclusively on the naturalistic recovery process. So here we get down further into the particulars of this article. And the authors specifically wanted to explore participants of the study's experiences, curative influences, and interpretations that led to their recovery process over time. Then we get the claim. For the purpose of this paper, I will be looking at rhetorical strategies and how the authors have delivered their information for their audience. So one thing I want to caution you about, this claim tells us what the writer is intending to do, but it doesn't necessarily make a claim about the rhetoric and what the writer has found. So I think a better claim would be something that makes some sort of an evaluation or judgment of the article. So maybe this writer could say, as I'm looking at these particular rhetorical strategies, I can see that the authors have delivered their information in an appropriate way for a counseling audience. That might make more of an evaluation about the effectiveness of the rhetoric. Then further, as we go down, we can see that this writer has divided the paper into different sections based on the particular journals that we did. We've got author, audience, context, and text. And then the writer has finished. Here, I think we do get some evaluation in the conclusion about how the article was done. Overall, the article was well written, the authors organized it well, and this is information that should probably be contained in your opening claim. So this writer chose to structure the body by journal. You don't necessarily have to do that, and I want to look at another example to show how it might be done differently. So this particular writer was writing in the engineering field, and here we've got an opening, we've got the context is reviewed, the audience, and then finally text. And most of the article, or this particular report, focuses on the text because I think to look at the effectiveness of a particular article, we might set the scene with the audience and the context and then focus on how the text of the article itself helps to convince the readers of a particular issue. And then he has also added a conclusion at the end. I want to look at this opening paragraph because I think it makes a clearer claim about the rhetorical strategies, and so I'll read this. As far as we are concerned, the elevator is a great tool that can benefit us and make our lives more efficient. However, the high cost of maintenance and the vibration problem in the traditional elevator system has attracted people's attention. So how can this problem be solved? And then we get information about the author, demonstrates a new maglev guiding system and 2 PID control methods to deal with the problem in his article, and then gives the article title. He is an expert in electrical maglev field, so what he wrote in this article about the PID control maglev guiding system is credible. Additionally, the writer uses rhetorical strategies similar to electrical engineering articles to convey his main point. And here's really the claim, that the writer is credible, and based on the strategies he's using, he conveys an article that effectively writes in an engineering style. Here we get an additional sentence to let readers know how this particular report is broken down. I will break down the article into 3 parts: context, audience, and text, to show how successfully he uses these rhetorical strategies. So possibly this writer could have combined these 2 sentences maybe for a stronger claim, but I think what we have here still works. And then in the body of the article, we get some sort of introduction for the context. The writer goes through various information about context, audience, and then text. And we've got several different bits of analysis with regard to the text. So I hope this helps to explain things a little bit. I will make sure to put a couple of samples out there for you all to look at as well. And let me know if you have questions as you are proceeding to type up your report, or questions when you get to the workshop part of it. My intent and goal with this assignment was that the journals that we've completed would be useful to you in order to construct your report. So use them, harvest information and quotes from them in order to build your report. I look forward to reading them. Thank you.